Hi, welcome everybody to be here on 360 Success Academy. Today we have a unbelievable guest that I am so excited to have with us. And her name is Stephanie Scheller. And in a few minutes, Stephanie is going to join us and we're going to do an interview together. But before we begin, I do want to give you a little background about who Stephanie is, so you'll get to understand why I personally cannot wait to have her on board. Stephanie may be young, and I don't want you to be fooled by her youth, but she has worked with close to 600 businesses and thousands of individuals in only the past 5 years. At 25 years old, and using the same systems she teaches, she built a business from scratch in less than 5 months. Do you guys realize that? This is a woman in action. And she did that to replace her full-time income and walked away from her corporate job to run her own company, dedicated to disrupting the way the world goes into business through sales, marketing, and systems. Now that's when she was 25. At 26, she published her first book. And the name of the book is called Friend Power: How the Friends You Choose Can Change Your Life, and begin co-hosting the blog talk phenomenon, Black Belt Selling, along her side business partner and mother, Anna Scheller, which, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, they are both obviously black belts. And I think a few more people, family members are also black belts. So these guys are not to be messed with. 1 year later, she published her second book, Getting Past the Gatekeeper, which was also immediately a best-selling publication. Guys, she's the real deal. She's an incredible speaker, a phenomenal coach and trainer, and here today to talk to us about how to be successful in business. You know, there is a cycle to business, and she's going to reveal to us what it is. So please join us in welcoming Stephanie Scheller. Stephanie?
Hello, how are you?
Great, thank you for being here today.
Oh, I'm excited. I've been looking forward to this all morning.
Well, thank you. You know, Stephanie, we are going to go into the aspects of your business, but I have to tell you, and if I haven't told you before, I am in awe. I mean, at just such a young age, you are, to me, the poster woman of what a true entrepreneur is. And it's just inspiring. I see, you know, from when we first met and hardly knew each other, guys, she had a full corporate job and she was deciding to transition into the company that she wanted to build that's full blown now during her lunch hour.
Yeah.
She used to take her lunch hour. Do you remember that, Stephanie?
Oh my gosh, it was so hot.
You had a track to run on and you were consistent. You sat there and made those calls every single lunch hour.
I did. I sat in my car in San Antonio, Texas, which is where I'm from, the summer camp. And it was sweaty. Mm-hmm. And I would sit there and I have a tiny little, it's not quite a sports car, but it's a small car. And so I'd have the phone on the little ledge right here. Mm-hmm. And then I'd have my list of people I was calling kind of propped between my leg and like the joystick. And so I'd be like, I just called it a joystick. So I'm sitting here crossing out and dialing and crossing out and dialing. And then I'd get someone on the phone. And I'd have to like switch over to the calendar and try and schedule it. It was intense. But you know what? When you reach that point that there's just not another option, you are going to make this happen. I wouldn't have changed that. It taught me a lot about perseverance. It taught me a lot about pushing through. Absolutely love what I did. I love that I was willing to put in that time there because I don't know many people who actually are.
That's my point, that I truly, for all the hundreds of people that I've been coaching since we met, there's only a handful that are that committed. You know, they use that word so loosely, and I'm sure you've come across it because you're also a coach. But you walk the talk. You actually said it's not just about oh, I'm interested in making these calls. I mean, even our phone calls that we're talking initially, you're like, oh, Celia, I've got 5 minutes on my lunch hour, and then I've got my track to run on. You were just so darn committed.
Yeah, it got to the point where nothing was getting in my way. Like this was what I was doing. And I had the old carriage horses that had the blinders on, right? And I was just, this is what I'm doing. And people would be like, hey, Steph, you want to go grab lunch? I'd be like, oh, I've got appointments. So, I mean, you got to get to a point where you decide nothing else matters. This is what I'm doing right here, right now. And that's what happened.
I had one of those secret windows to seeing you in action, making that happen. and it was interesting because, you know something, it doesn't matter what age you are. You know, I might, it could be someone as young as you, but, you know, it could be someone a lot older than I am. That as long as you have that drive and ambition to become, to really be committed to being an entrepreneur and go through those everyday challenges, it doesn't matter what age you are. But I'm just in awe of your age, and your maturity is way beyond your years. And I'm sure many people have told you that.
Well, I do hear it fairly often, but it never ceases to amaze me. I've never quite gotten around to expecting to hear that. And it really does mean a lot to me. So thank you. Those are the types of things that keep me going all the time and pushing like I do, because I want to be able to keep inspiring people like that. I think the people who've inspired me have made such a big difference for me, and I want to be able to do that for other people. So thank you. I appreciate it very much.
Oh, well, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. And that's actually what we're trying to do here, is through your experiences to inspire and help others kind of get off the sidelines and get in there and fight for their dreams and fight for what they really want to do in life. Yeah. So with that being said, let's just go dive in, roll up our sleeves, and talk about, you know, you've gone through that to me was not an easy part of your life. That to me was a challenge for you. You may not see that. Maybe you do. I don't know. But was there ever a point as an entrepreneur, a new entrepreneur at that point in your life, was there ever a point that you really wanted to, that you questioned what you were doing? Because quite honestly, I have a lot of clients that are, you know, they get to that point where they question, the work that I'm doing, is it worth me continuing, or should I just bail and go get a job? Which is not saying that that's bad for everybody, but you've gone through that.
Yeah, I've lived and breathed that. And I've got to tell you, I came up with this great quote when I was in the midst of one of my really deep moments and really, really wondering if I needed to keep going. The quote I came up with was, if you haven't asked yourself if it's time to quit, you haven't gone far enough.
I love that.
And that's just straight up truth. You look into the backgrounds of all the people who have really made something big happen. I mean, of course, right now we have this huge Pokemon Go thing going, and so many people are all, Pokemon Go, let's do this one. And it just sprung up overnight. I mean, it was like it didn't exist, and then all of a sudden it existed everywhere. And when you look into this guy's backstory, he spent 20 years going from job to job, collecting all these skills that allowed him to create Pokemon Go. It was not something that he just decided he was going to do it. There was a lot of, not necessarily failure along the way, but some people would have considered it failure. And I really think, I mean, I've gone through more of those moments now than I would ever have thought possible. And the truth of the matter is, it really just comes down to realizing that you are going to face those challenges. And I actually remember when I'd just gone through a really kind of nasty business divorce, broken apart with a business partner, and it really affected my business. And I remember I'd just gotten off the phone with my mom, who's been working with me on the business, and I was standing in a popular bookstore and almost in tears, frustrated. And I looked right, and on the shelf was this book. called The Dip: When to Quit and When to Stick by Seth Godin. And it was like it was just obviously
Karma.
meant to.
It's karma that it was right there for you.
So I grabbed the book, and it was this tiny little book. It was like $12, and I was like, I am not spending $12 on a book this thick. And then I was like, okay, well, it's not about the size of the book. It's about what's inside that matters, right? So I grabbed the book, I go up, I get it. And it was kind of just a turning point for me to realize, you know what? And I highly recommend, if you're at a point where you're wondering, do I keep going? Do I stop? Go grab a copy of that book. It will change your life. I've sent so many people to go read that book now. It's not even funny. But we're all going to have those challenges, and the people who get paid are the people who push through it. So it's going to come down to how far are you willing to go to make your dream come true?
And you've done it. You've broken through those, points in your life, and you've grown so much from those experiences. So let's talk about the business cycle.
Yeah. So the business cycle, my business cycle that I've created is this idea, not really an idea. So back up a little bit. When I graduated from college, I started working with small to medium-sized businesses right off the bat. And when I started, my original thought was that businesses need to know how to market. They don't know how to market at all, period. Most of them have no clue how to market themselves properly. So my original idea was, well, if I can teach them how to market their business, I can help these guys stay in business. Mm-hmm. So I got a job helping them market. And I was so excited. I loved doing it. I did that for 3 years. That was my corporate job. And I loved helping these guys, but then I started to realize there was a missing gap. And it wasn't just about marketing your business, because I could send, and this is a true example, I sent 62 phone calls to one client in 1 month. Okay, we tracked our calls. The calls were tracked, recorded. I could tell you how many calls came through. I could listen to them. The client calls me up and is yelling at me about how it's not working. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, I just sent you 60 phone calls in 1 month and you paid me $500. I mean, dude, you did not even, this is ridiculous. Your average ticket price is $700. All you needed to do was sell one. This is ridiculous. So we're listening, and I realized something. There was no sales skills at all. In fact, we're listening. At one point, the girl tells the prospect, the potential client, to go to a competitor because he's cheaper and on your side of town anyhow.
Are you kidding me? That's the first time I've heard that one. Okay.
No. I'm sitting there listening to it with the business owner, right? And the business owner, he just got so red. He was so angry. And I would have been too, right? You're sitting there listening to your girl basically sabotage your business. And, but that was when I realized, okay, it's not just marketing. People also need sales. So I started to believe, okay, sales and marketing, and they go hand in hand, right? Marketing generates leads, sales closes the leads. If you've got these two, so then I started to tell myself, if you got these two, you can stay in business. And then I realized something. This one, marketing costs money. And usually it costs a lot of money. And so I said, okay, there's got to be something else. So you need sales. You need a system to deliver on it. So if you have a system to deliver on your sales, you have a system to keep your employees happy, you have a system to deal with the customers, you have a system for how to run the company, the structures of the company, and you have sales, you could stay in business. So for most business owners, really for the first 2-3 years of business, this is where they operate. And for some business owners will never leave this sphere. Now you get a business that wants to go very large scale, one that wants to go maybe nationwide or wants to dominate in a local area. Now you're going to have to add in the marketing. But we have so many business owners that try and operate right here in sale or in systems and in marketing. And
they stay there, right? They just stay there.
They do. And they bankrupt themselves because they're spending so much money to get sales in the door or to get the sales to come to them so that their systems can deliver. And the problem is, really, if they would just operate right here, upgrade your sales, get to where you can close at a 60-70% ratio, and then upgrade your systems so that you can handle more sales. And then you upgrade your sales skills again. So now you're closing at a 70, 80%. And then you upgrade your system so you can close more sales. And then now you upgrade this again, right? So you say, okay, I can handle 5,000. Let's say you're a widget maker. Mm-hmm. I can make 5,000 widgets a week. And you can sell 4,000 widgets a week, right? Well, now you need to increase your sales. You need more sales. But at some point, you're not going to have time to go out and close all those sales yourself. In fact, at some point, your closing ratio is going to be so high that it's not going to make sense for you to generate your own leads. And that's
when you start to decide the value of your own time. Is that correct?
Yes. So now you decide, okay, I've got to leverage my time. Okay. I need to start getting 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours of results for every hour I work. Now let's pay for marketing so that my marketing will send me qualified leads. I'll close those qualified leads. We'll put them into my system. And then you say, okay, well, now I need to upgrade my sales again. Well, why don't I hire someone now? And now you bring on a sales rep. And then you upgrade your systems to handle more. And this is the safe cycle to build a business. See, we get people who get $1 million and throw it into their systems, or $1 million and throw it into their marketing. And now you've got a lopsided triangle.
It's true. And is it the fact that that's what I wanted everyone to hear, that you need all parts of that triangle to make it work. You know, because if they concentrate on the sales and they completely forget about putting the foundations, the systems in place that can help generate everybody and go through this cycle, the process that you need them. So all of these components are important. And then if you forget about marketing, they're not going anywhere.
No, I mean, to me, it's the cornerstone, right? This is, you want to build a business, this is the cycle. This is what you use. And if you break it down, think about it that way. I mean, where are you at? Do you need money or do you need more deliverability? If you need money, you need to increase your sales. If you need deliverability, you need to increase your systems. And it's really, truly that simple. So right. I'm very proud of that. I've been searching for a while now, looking at, what's the secret to running a business? Like, how do you actually create and run a business? Like, what's the secret sauce?
And you actually came across this secret sauce, and you've proven and tested the system, and mm-hmm. It's not to be it's just not to be overlooked because of its simplicity. Because sometimes right. It's in that simplicity that all the magic actually happens. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, see, that's the thing. People try and make it more complicated than it is, or they try and, like I get clients all the time where we're arguing over, they're like, well, it's not going to work like that. And I'm like, trust the process. Trust. I've worked at this point. I mean, I'm still young and I totally get it, but I do not know anyone else who has worked with more than 600 different companies in the past 5 years.
I agree with you. For all the people that I've worked with, and it doesn't matter. Even the truth of the matter is, you're more of an expert not watching the income, right? Take the income and put that aside. But for the fact that you've worked with over 600 companies puts you as the expert right there.
Yeah, and that's what I try and remind people. And I totally get it. I have people who have ignored me because I'm a woman. I have people who have ignored me because I'm young. And I'm just like, well, you know what? I have a lot of faith in my systems. And here's the deal. Either you can follow them or you don't. If you don't, I'm not going to guarantee you're going to fail. There's nothing that says you're going to fail by not following my systems. But if you want to guarantee success, you will follow the system. And as far as I have been able to prove so far, no one who's followed the system has failed. But that's
like
the key.
You said, they might have had somewhere along the line, and I don't consider that to be a failure, because the fact that they were in action, the fact that they actually, came up to bat and put into place the systems that you just gave us a brief overview of what they are, but that's not a failure. So often our entrepreneurs are being bombarded with that word, failure, don't fail. I'm like, it's not about failing, guys. It's just the fact that it's part of taking action.
Yeah, my definition of failure is very different than a lot of people. Well, maybe it's not. It's different to me. My definition of failure is just inaction.
Inaction. That's exactly what I was going to say. It's just the fact that you're in action.
Yeah.
And that's part of the process, because there's no other way that you're going to learn. There's no other way that your own growth and success happens. So you need to be in action.
Yeah, you do. And that's the thing. See, as long as the people implement the pieces I tell them to do, we've not had any challenges. And we've had people go from literally 3 figures in revenue in a month to 5 in 3 months just doing this. But they're the ones who took action, who took the steps. And then I've had people who sit there and have gone backwards in revenue. They started making this much, and then they were only making this much. And when we looked at what happened, was that they didn't take action on what they were told to do. They sat there, they took great notes, and they tried to hand it off to someone else. And that's not how it works. You see, for me, you haven't failed as long as you're still moving forward. And you may be moving forward in this direction now instead of this direction, but as long as you continue to move forward, I don't consider it failure. Failure is a complete, it's an end, it's final. And as long as you don't let something be your end, your final.
Wow. Stephanie, I hope everyone is listening to this, because this is just priceless what you're saying. It's just priceless. That alone, I mean, you just keep giving us more and more amazing information, but that alone, as long as you're moving forward, because failure it has this finite ending to it, sounding of completion, right?
Yeah, it does. And we tend to be very afraid of failure. I've worked with clients who are paralyzed into inaction by that fear of failure. And so I never want to trivialize that fear because it's very real, and it's a physically real thing. It will mess with you, physically mess with you. So I don't want to trivialize it. It is not a small thing to experience.
No, it's huge. And that's actually what I'm trying to help some people, because my take on it is that as long as you're moving forward, you'll be okay. As long as you even take the smallest steps, and that's what we're about in 360, just to chunk everything down, take the small steps, move forward. You're going to be okay, because you're not staying status quo, because eventually that status quo is you're not status quo. You've lost and moved backwards.
Right.
There is no such thing as staying still, especially in our world of business. That's forever going on and on and on. But you're right. We're not here to minimize or to judge it. I actually feel very bad for the people. So that's one of the reasons why I was hoping to motivate them to take small steps towards action through your story, through your experiences, even for them to listen through your philosophies of your strategies on the cycle of business, and to take it and say, hey, you know what? I can do this. I can take that first step. It's okay.
Yeah. And that's the thing, here, I want to give you guys an example. There's one lady there's 3 ladies that I've started working with lately. And I think the ladies who are really struggling with this come to me because it's comfortable, right? Talking to another woman. So I don't have any guys that I've worked through with this on, and maybe it's the guys don't struggle from this. I don't know. But I have this one lady who we started working together, and she struggled to even text me back. And my first instinct was to get frustrated, right? Like, you're paying me to come in and help you, and you won't even text me back. This is ridiculous. You're fired. And I started to realize there was something a lot deeper going on. She would get the text, and she would literally freeze. Her heart would start to race. She would start to panic. So for her, action was just to open the text and read it. I mean, that's such a small step. Some of us are looking at that going, holy crap. That's ridiculously small. But for some people, don't belittle that, because for some people, that's all they can do. For her, she would see my name come across as a text and panic. And so for her, opening the text was a step of action. It was moving forward. And so I want to make sure that if someone out there is listening to this and they're at a point where they want to make a change and they're scared, I've been there. And I remember at one point I was so frustrated with my full-time job that I was looking at other jobs in other companies around the city. And I chose not to apply for any of them, even though there's one company here that everyone loves the idea of working for. It's kind of like the Google of San Antonio. And so everyone wants to work for them. And really the only way to work for them is to get an introduction into the company. And I had an introduction. So I probably could have gotten a job working for them, but I was so scared of, it's kind of like I kept telling myself the grass is greener on the other side. I'm sure they have problems too. At least I know my problems. Mm-hmm. Taking action was just walking out of work during the day and going out and making calls. And half the time I was making calls to people I knew wouldn't answer, because I was scared. I was scared of this transition. I was scared of moving into a new realm. And so I can understand what it's like to be at that point. And I want to encourage you just to take a little step. It's a snowball effect. We've seen the snowball, the cartoons. It starts at the top and maybe an acorn falls from the tree and it starts rolling downhill and it collects more snow. And then before you know it, it's picking up trees and people and skiers and cabins, and it's a giant snowball. But it started with a little acorn that just started rolling. So if you're at acorn stage, there's nothing wrong with that. Go for it. Just start that roll. You never know where you're going to end up. So
I love that. I love that. Stephanie, the truth is, like always, I can talk to you and we can have the most amazing, inspiring conversations. And I'm looking at the time and half hour just went like nothing. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
The amount of knowledge and really words of wisdom that you just gave us is I thank you. Thank you so much for taking out your time. Thank you so much for inspiring our entrepreneurs out there to keep on going, no matter what stage you're at, no matter, with the fears, without the fears, just follow your dreams. And you are the living example of being out there and following your dreams. And you're actually giving them permission to say, it's okay to be scared, but go ahead and do it anyway. I'd like for you to spend some time before we go out and, how can people get in touch with you? And maybe give us some insight, some phone numbers or website. And we're going to also post it on Facebook.
Awesome. So the best way to get a hold of me, I would give out my phone number, but I don't answer my phone anymore. I'm really bad at that. I'm always in stuff like this. So really, if you want to chat, here's what I would love for you to do. Send me an email to Stephanie@thestephaniescheller.com and title it Attention Stacy. It sounds really weird. Stacy's my personal assistant. Okay, so she will reply back. She'll get you on my calendar for a call for us to chat. And what I usually tell people is just give me 10 or 15 minutes and I'm sure I can give you some one-on-one ideas that can help you out. You can check out my website. Of course, I've got a blog there and all sorts of speaking engagements at www.thestephaniescheller.com. But if something I said touched you and you want to chat, I've done lots of these chats without getting anything back out of it. I'm okay. I believe the more seeds I plant, the more comes back to me. So that would be the email to Stephanie@thestephaniescheller.com and just title it Attention Stacy. So Stacy will get you on the calendar.
Thank you, Stephanie. As always, it's been a wonder, and thank you so much. And I hope you have a great day, and I look forward to more of these with you.
Thank you. I'm excited. I appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. I can't thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Have a great day, Steph. And talk to all of you guys later If you missed this, guys, go back and listen to the recording. Well worth it. Amazing. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.